Yeah, I think I will check just,
Yeah.
That I missed the month of texting, but you know.
Yeah.
Google travel.
Yeah.
I think it'll, this was construction.
Hello, everybody. It is 12:30 and right on the nose. So we will start this opening of this public hearing. Councillor Morrison will be joining us shortly. This public hearing is being convened in order to consider and receive submissions relating to Bowen Island Municipality Land Use Bylaw number 57, 2002, Amendment Bylaw number 666, 2024, Bowen Island Municipality Official Community Plan Bylaw number 282, 2010, Amendment Bylaw number 667, 2024. So anyone who believes that their interest in property is affected by the proposed bylaws will be given a reasonable opportunity to present verbal or written submissions respecting the matters contained in the proposed bylaws. No one will be discouraged or prevented from making their views heard. In order to maintain order during the public hearing and to ensure everyone has a reasonable opportunity to be heard, the following rules of procedure have been established. And yes, I'm reading this off the page. This is the first public hearing we've actually done this term in 2.5 years. So to address the public hearing, speakers must register their name on the speakers list. Speakers may add their name to the list at any time during the course of the public hearing. If speaking from prepared remarks, please send a copy by email to the corporate officer for inclusion in the public record of the public hearing. Instructions how to do that. You can refer to the public hearing procedure policy number 1-02, which is on our website. Speakers must commence remarks by stating their name, and if speaking on behalf of another person or organization, the speaker must identify the name of that person or organization. The chair, which is myself, will make 3 calls for public submissions, either verbal or written. Each speaker may only speak once during each call for a maximum of 5 minutes each time, to a maximum of 3 calls for a total of 15 minutes. Speakers will be called in the order which they appear on the speakers list. Speakers must limit their comments to the proposed bylaws and must not repeat statements they already presented. All speakers must be respectful of others and ensure that comments address the specific issue being considered. Inappropriate language or behavior will not be tolerated, applauding, interrupting, etc. Chair may remove a member of the public from the public hearing at their discretion. All verbal and written submissions must be received by council before the close of this public hearing. Members of council are not permitted to receive further submissions regarding the proposed bylaws after the public hearing has closed. Submissions received after the close of the public hearing will be circulated to staff for information. Council, in considering the proposed bylaws, has received documents which may inform its decision. All documents related to the public hearing received by 11 a.m. on the day of the hearing, which is today, are available for review during the public hearing via the hearing agenda, which is available at our website. All correspondence received after 11 a.m. before the close of the public hearing are included in the revised public hearing agenda. All verbal submissions at the hearing are summarized in the public hearing minutes. Please observe the rules of procedure, and if you have any concerns with the manner in which the public hearing is conducted, please direct your comments to our corporate officer, Sophie Insigne. Thank you. Okay, and with that out of the way, we will move on to purpose of bylaws. We have 2.1 proposed land use bylaw amendment, bylaw number 66 or 666, 2024, would amend the zoning at 2095 Cape Drive to create a new zone variation RR1G to add school to the list of allowable uses. Proposed official community plan amendment bylaw number 667, 2024 would amend the OCP land use designation of 2095 Cape Drive to a new rural institutional R/I designation, including accompanying description of the designation, identify the subject property within the Cape Roger Curtis area, and adding a policy that the municipality may consider approving institutional uses in Cape Roger Curtis to uphold access to education for locals, with an inclusion that transportation routes must be a consideration. Let me just move on to the presentation. Okay, moving to section 3.1, overview of proposed rezoning for Island Discovery Learning Community at 2095 Cape Drive. We have Drew back in, our Island Community Planner, with us today, and thus ends my lengthy preamble to this meeting.
Let's start off. Give a background or explain what the bylaw is, but Leonard already gave a summary of what both bylaws are. To go on to, well, just first just the location, just showing what that is in the Cape Roger Curtis area, fronting on both Cape Drive and DC Road. To go into the background of the bylaw, so the application was first introduced to council. Application was first introduced to council on June 24th, 2024. At that time, council advised for staff to refer the application to the Advisory Planning Commission, and then to at the same time as they come back, as staff came back, we drafted the bylaw for first reading. So that first reading occurred on September 23rd, 2024. So yeah, first reading given to both bylaws, and then council motion for staff to refer the bylaws to the Islands Trust. Staff returned again December 9th, 2024. That was the date of the second reading. So again, both bylaws were given their second reading. Staff then advised staff to set up the public hearing where we are today, with expanded notification radius based on the size of the properties out there. And then to cover our results from the referrals, when it was referred to the Islands Trust, they met on October 30th, 2024 with their executive committee. Basically, they stated that both bylaws were not contrary to or at variance with the Islands Trust policy statement. And then the other referral is to the Advisory Planning Commission. That was on July 3rd, 2024. They supported the rezoning application just with two comments. One, that impact of access through DC Road be considered. And second, that the rural institutional land use designation be applied. So that's just referring to the new section of the OCP. So they just encourage that. And then otherwise, so for today, the public hearing, we received 4 letters from the public leading up to this. So 2 were clear letters of support. One was conditionally supportive, and then one wasn't clearly supportive or opposing. So that's the end of my part. Thank you, guys.
Okay. We don't take questions or discussions. Public hearing, is that correct?
That's right.
Correct. Okay. So moving on to section 4. Is there anything to do with section 4? Background information, or is that just information?
So yeah, section 4 is just noting that the background information related to these bylaws is available on our website. And there's a link in the agenda.
Okay. And now the main event, public hearing submissions and input. So how to sign up for the public hearing. If you're attending in person, you can register your name, address, and telephone number on the speakers list, which is located in the council chambers. Do you have any direction for folks signing up?
Yeah, we have received, sorry, you don't have to.
Okay, great.
But we have received several people who have signed up in person and online. So you can go ahead and call for public input.
Okay, so I will call for public input 3 times. So are there, do a call for public input for anyone that has verbal and written submissions?
So we have Alan Sogstad is first on the list to provide verbal submissions, and he is on Zoom.
Okay. Mr. Sogstad, are you there with us today?
I am. You can see me here? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. We can see you and hear you loud and clear. So if you'd like to state your name for the record, if you're representing an organization, let us know which one that is.
Yeah, my name's Al Sogstad. I'm the principal of Island Discovery. And sorry I couldn't be there in person today, but wanted to zoom in. And I know I'm not a neighbor or anything, but I just thought, so I'm not here to really advocate, except I am here to really represent our 45 or so families. As things have gone quite smoothly, we didn't think we needed to, advocate for families to come to chambers today to talk about how they feel about the school and everything. I think that's pretty obvious so far, and I think council's all well aware of how much this school means to all the people who attended. So I just thought I'd do just a little bit on my behalf, and we have one parent in attendance as well. Anyway, just as a background, we've been on island. We've been operating for 21 years now. We really see ourselves as an alternative education setting where we've created a really gentle environment with small part-time classes for kids that are largely wanting that, for families that want to be involved in learning to a high degree in their child's learning, and also for kids that function better in a really small family-like setting. really supports a lot of diverse learners. We have about 50 students who attend part-time, never on the same day, of course. And that number, we've had that same number of students for probably 10 years now. We haven't grown or shrunk, and we have no plans to be bigger than that. We don't want to create a big campus of a school. That's not our intention. That's not our philosophy. We want to stay small. So I know there's been some concerns in the community about traffic. I just wanted to point out that we've been pretty happy with the bus service. The bus drivers have been tremendous at taking students. Probably 50 to 70% of our students do take transit each day. And it works really well. They get off at Reef Road and White Sails, which is kind of the end of the route. And they walk through DC and right directly onto the property, which is about a 10 to 15 minute walk. And it's a great way for those kids to start the day. They all walk together and support each other. But I think a lot of people aren't aware that a lot of kids are doing that. And just to point out too, that a lot of families do carpool. And we are only in session 4 days a week. And never there on the weekends. We're never there in the evenings. We're not there for just about 3 months actually in the summer. 3 weeks at Christmas, 3 weeks at spring break. So our use of the property is fairly minimal in a sense. We also have a 15-passenger van that we utilize at times. Anyway, we also just recently finally got our water community water system permit from Vancouver Coastal Health. So that's all done and approved. So we're really happy about that. And our water, we do operate on a well. We're not using municipal water, just like everyone else at the Cape. And that's working really well. And our water is clean and pure, and we don't use a lot of it. So we've never come close to running out. And just to point to that we are, a big part of our philosophy is to be stewards of the land, to honor the Indigenous people that came before us, to protect it, to see our place there as an opportunity to teach the children about how they can care for the land and how they can be stewards of not only that land, but all lands. That's really, really important to us. So we want to work with our community, with those around us, with those on Bowen, and we really welcome the input of everybody and how we can do that in partnership with them. Lastly, I just wanted to thank Council for all your time and effort, and even just holding this meeting today. It's not lost on us, the gratitude that we have for you and the time you're putting into considering this. And know too that in our hearts, our philosophy is always to partner with our community members and to make sure that everything we do is through consensus and through collaboration. And we want to be really good neighbors, not just to our nearby neighbors, but to Bowen Island in general. So we welcome this opportunity to meet with you and hear from the community. And we, of course, will continue to do that through all our days. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here today.
Next up, we have David Atkinson.
Hello, I'm David Atkinson, and
If you're able to come join us up here.
I was thinking, where am I? Sit down here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Grab a seat whenever you're ready. Feel free to begin.
I'm David Atkinson, and I'm the owner of the land and the house. And 6 or 7 years ago, we purchased that to build the house. And we met Alan and IDLC during the start of COVID, when they sort of lost their house in a residential neighborhood by the golf course, and sort of revised our internal building plan to make it in. There's no master bathroom in that's an office, and there's just little changes, nothing too major. And I'm here mostly just if you guys have any questions about the infrastructure for the land and to respond to anything. And I enjoy working with them.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Next, we have Zoe Christina Solaris, and she's on Zoom.
Hi, Ms. Solaris, can you hear us?
Hello, Bowen Island Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for hosting this gathering. I have sent in written remarks, which are pretty comprehensive, but I just wanted to take a minute to add my voice and note a few things. So some of you may or may not know that my mother and I recently closed on the lot directly adjoining the school. And we are very grateful stewards. We are very clear that this is Coast Salish land. And in our showing up for that land, we are attempting to show up for principles of regenerativity, of intergenerational support and work and land stewardship. And I will say also that we are the neighbor, the direct neighbor who is by a very long shot the most affected by the presence of a school. We share an exceptionally long property line, and that property line is exactly adjoining the school driveway, parking lot, and entrance and playground. So if anybody had cause to be concerned, it would be us. And yet I'm coming here to you today with a heart that is just so full of support and so grateful that we get to be neighbors to a community like this. And I know that when we enter into a conversation around a rezoning, there's always some concern about people's needs being met. And I just want to speak to the character and nature of cooperation that I've gotten to experience with Alan and with Dave as the property owner and the tenant, respectively, and the principal of the school, that we regularly have check-ins, have meetings, confer about our activities. And my experience has been that they are so attentive, so caring, so present to cooperation, and so creative. And in fact, we've had many practical puzzles to solve. Last year, we actually had a community small grant, and across 3 different lots with the children and the parents at the school, we did forest cleanup to mitigate forest fires and create mulch. And we are tackling all of our kind of question marks with joy and creativity. We're going to be replanting the privacy between the 2 lots because the driveway kind of took down some of the trees. So Dave and I are working on that, various other things, which you'll see in my written remarks. But the point here is that there's something truly extraordinary happening with IDLC. And the best way I can summarize it is that it feels like what community is supposed to feel like. It's positive, it's kind, it's mutually encouraging, it's creative, it is generative, it leads to more of the good. And we are absolutely here for it. I know many of the families and parents at the school personally, and it is a total joy to have them as neighbors. And we look forward to that, hopefully for many years to come. And then the other note I wanted to make was about the inevitable traffic concerns. I just want to echo what Alan said, that I do know that the children in the large majority number take the bus. I sometimes take the bus with them. I walk that path with them. And so I know it well. And it's a thing that's absolutely happening on a continuous basis. And I do also know that they carpool because I'm often in those carpools myself. So I do know that from an impact perspective, it's very low. And I also want to name that, I know that the White Cells community, that this is a really sensitive topic for them, and that it can be easily inflamed, especially as I am witness to some of the lots at the Cape being like stripped down to the ground, and, giant logging trucks rumbling out, and off-island construction crews who don't have any awareness of the community or its ethos, moving heavy machinery and vehicles in and out. I can understand why that's a pain point or a tender point for that community. But I do just want to name that in my personal direct experience, the parents driving in and out from IDLC with cars full of children, they're embedded in community. Some of them live on that road. Some of them live in Tunstall or, nearby neighborhoods. And these are people who are embedded in community, who have children in their vehicles, who are looking out for their classmates on the road, who are driving carefully, and who deeply care about our shared experience. So I think it's really important to consider who is in those vehicles and how much they care. And just in summary, I wanted to say that you could consider me IDLC's nosiest neighbor. We get to see and hear everything that's happening there. And from that vantage, I can assure you that what I'm experiencing at IDLC feels so completely like what the spirit of what this community and island is about. And I really hope that we get to support them for many years to come. Thank you for your kind attention and all of your work.
Thank you, Ms. Solaris. That being the end of the speakers list, I'll call for a second time for any further submissions.
Should I write my name down still? Okay.
Have a seat and get cozy. And before you begin, if you could state your name and address.
I'm Lara McCursey, 412 Venture Road. And I'm a parent at IDLC. I just want to speak in further support of what everybody said, and I'll try not to be too repetitive, but I will speak in from parents' perspective and experience. In terms of the traffic concern, my kids want to take the bus. They would rather be with their friends than be in my car, that is for sure. And they all have a nice time doing it. When kids aren't on the bus, as you've heard, we have robust carpools. So part of the ethos of our school community is that we're not just connected to our own kids, we're connected to each other's kids, and that we have a sort of family village atmosphere. And so we have this robust WhatsApp life at our school, and a message will go out in the morning saying, hey, looks like I'm going to be driving today. I have 3 empty seats. Does anyone want to ride? And you can count on that happening all week long. So it's not the typical pickup drop-off procession that you're used to seeing at a school, I guess. And in terms of, I think another value that this council has identified about the school is the access to education piece and the diversity of educational options here on Bowen. So I think, as you've heard, IDLC provides a learning environment that's just unlike anything else. A regular school for my kids is not an option. I have 2 neurodivergent kids. And if not for IDLC, we would not be able to stay here in Bowen. So we came to IDLC with a kid who was absolutely miserable in a standard school. And this morning, the 3rd Monday of our spring break, he woke up and said to me, is spring break over yet? Do I get to go to school today? So it's just made all the difference in the world for my kids and for so many others. Al is very humble about this school that he's built with the vision that he has, so I will do the bragging for him. This is a program that is highly regarded in educational circles as being innovative and at the forefront of what education should be in our modern day, especially for diverse learners. But with the idea of universal design, that actually is so beneficial for all kinds of learners. I think that this school, there's nothing like it anywhere, and it's truly a feather in Bowen's cap. And it's these same attributes that make the school special, or sort of the same ones that actually make it so suitable for this location. So it's our small numbers, it's our home-like environment, our gentle presence in nature, and the very conscious, intentional way we connect as a community with each other and with the space that we're in. I'll also note that I think there's a common misperception I've run into chatting with people around the island that we're a private school. We're not a private school, we're public. And as such, we are the only public, tuition-free, accessible option on the island for grades 8 to 12. So there are kids who it just doesn't work for them to be on the ferry 5 days a week and going into West Van. And we provide an option that kids can stay right here and get a very high quality education all the way through their high school years. And a bonus for that actually is the bus, that even the younger kids feel comfortable taking the bus because the older kids that they know from their school are there with them. A final note, you've heard, as you've heard, our kids are only in class part-time. But our school culture is very much that learning isn't just something that happens at school, at the school building. So our families, we use the whole island. We use our outdoor spaces, our homes, the library. We're involved in growing businesses. We have mentorship with local trades and crafts people. So we go about it quietly, as is our way. But our kids are getting that foundational value of being lifelong learners and in so many different arenas, and making these deep, meaningful connections around the island and really contributions to the island. Speaking on behalf of my own family, and I'm sure many others, it's just the absolute joy of our lives that we get to be part of this community. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here. Okay, we'll call a third and final time for any further submissions regarding bylaws number 666 and 667, 2024. Not seeing any online or in the room, we will move to closure and adjournment of the public hearing. So there's a recommendation before us that all written and verbal submissions regarding bylaw 666 and 667, 2024, up to and including March 24th, 2025, be received and that the public hearing be closed. Moved by Councillor Saunders, seconded by Councillor Morse. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
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 And that carries unanimously. And with that, our public hearing is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for being here today.